up, domino community? I'm Lily Hevish, and today I'll be teaching you how to build crossovers. So get your dominoes and let's start building. Crossovers or cross-throughs are very useful when you want to have a domino line cross over itself, especially if you don't have a bridge or if you need to save a lot of space. I'll be teaching you 3 different ways that you can make this crossover. They're all very easy. You don't need a lot of dominoes. A simple 28 pack of dominoes could probably work. I don't know if any of these crossovers have like specific names, so I'm just gonna call this first one the equals sign crossover because it kind of looks like an equals sign. So I'm gonna start by setting up 2 dominoes that are 8 millimeters apart, or about 1 domino thickness. So this is as if you were building a normal domino line, except the line that's gonna cross it is gonna go in the perpendicular direction. So I'm gonna take this domino, and this is the domino that will knock down and start the actual crossover. This is gonna have a little bit of a gap, about 8 millimeter spacing, or 1 domino thickness as well. And I'm just gonna continue to build this line a little bit longer, and then it's going to hit these dominoes, move them over, and tap the blue domino right here. Now, depending on your floor, whether it's really slippery, you can kind of adjust the spacing if you need to. Some people actually, they make a gap in between here, or some people, they have it touching, or they'll have a little bit of extra space in between the actual crossover and the starting line. So do some tests and do what works for you. I'm just gonna put like a tiny little spacing here, just a little bit of a spacing. And then we're gonna keep on building this line. Now, if I were to topple this red domino is going to shift over in the direction that the line is going. So I don't want to put the crossing line in line with the dominoes that I already placed. Instead, I'm going to move it over so it's sort of in line with these first 2 dominoes. And I'm gonna put about 1 centimeter gap in between. So there's a gap here and a gap right here. And now it's just a matter of connecting the lines. Now again, right here, we can practice our domino curves by using 4 angled dominoes in the curve. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Now it's a 90-degree angle. And then let's do another 1, 2, 3, 4. And then this domino, now it's a perfect U-turn or a 180-degree turn. And now we can just connect it all. Now, what's important is that you use enough dominoes in the curve so that it isn't too sharp. If I were to put a domino like this, like sure, it could work, but it's a lot more risky because the dominoes aren't really perfectly aligned with each other as if they were almost touching each other. So here we go. This is the equal sign domino crossover. 3, 2, 1, go. Perfect. So if we watch that in slow motion, you'll see that the equal sign starts to shift over, which aligns itself with the white domino line and allows it to cross through. The second crossover is what I like to call the tilting square. What you do is you take 2 dominoes, put it together, make a square, and this is your crossover. That's it. Pretty simple. We're gonna put a domino line, again, about 8 millimeters apart from this one. And then you just continue the starting line. And now we can make the domino line coming off of it. Again, depending on your floor surface and whether it's slippery or more grippy, you can vary the spacing of this final domino. There could be a little bit of a gap or a larger gap. Just do some tests. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna put a little bit of a small gap here. And then I'm going to continue the line. And I recommend putting at least 2 dominoes that are straight before trying to angle the domino turn. That's just because if you try to angle it here, then you won't have enough dominoes to make a complete domino turn with enough dominoes in the curve. It would be too sharp of a turn. And then similar to the previous domino crossover, we're going to put the dominoes, instead of in line with these 2, I'm gonna move it over to the middle of the first domino. And that's because when these 2 dominoes fall over, it's not going to shift as much as the previous one. It's going to be a little bit offset, but not as much. And again, on these perpendicular dominoes, I'm going to make at least 2 straight dominoes before trying to angle it. So now we can all connect the dominoes. All right, let's knock down the tilting square crossover. 3, 2, 1, go. Nice. So in slow motion, the square does tip over and then it kind of gets offset a little bit and allows for a domino line to cross over. And the third crossover is called the arbor. I don't know if this actually has a proper name, but it looks like an arbor. I'll put an image of an arbor over here. So I'm gonna start by making a simple domino line. And again, the spacing for lines should be about 1 domino thickness to about 1 centimeter maximum. Just make sure you're consistent with the spacing. And now we can start making the arbor. So we're going to put a domino that is in the perpendicular direction of the line that you've already built. One on this side and then one on the other side. And make sure there is a gap in between the two because we don't want them to interfere when this line falls. The distance is just about 1 domino height because we will be putting a domino on top. But first, we're going to actually stack another domino on top to make it a little bit taller. And then we can place this domino on top to connect it. So now we have the arbor. All we have to do now is just extend the lines. And now we can connect it. Awesome, so this is it. Now just make sure when you topple it that the line that goes underneath the arbor always falls first. Otherwise, if you knock down this arbor, then it could kind of crash everywhere and we don't want that. Just be mindful of which direction you place the arbor. Let's knock it down. 3, 2, 1, go. Perfect. So if we watch this one in slow motion, the starting line falls normally, and then once it hits the arbor, the dominoes fall, and the connecting domino kind of falls in cascades, leaning onto the next domino, which pushes the next line to topple over. I'd say the arbor is kind of nice if you want more of a visual effect with the crossover because you see something fall over. The arbor is also nice to use when you're crossing something over, but it's a little bit taller than the height of a domino because the arbor allows for a little bit of extra space underneath it for it to topple. And it's kind of nice because the line doesn't slow down. It can kind of just pass through as a normal line and then there's a slight pause when it crosses over. There are many ways to make crossovers. One of my favorite crossovers is what I like to call the sliding square method, which uses 2 dominoes, but it slides on top of itself instead of tilting. And I actually made a tutorial on that way back when, a few years ago, with my friend Audrey. If you'd like to watch that, you can click right over here. Let me know in the comments what your favorite crossover trick is. Is it the equals sign? Is it the tilting square? Is it the arbor? Is it the sliding square? Or is there another domino crossover trick that I don't even know of? Let me know in the comments. If there's any other trick that you want me to make a tutorial video on, go to hevesh5.com/getinvolved and you could submit a request for a tutorial. And if you want to get the highest quality dominoes out there, I recommend H5 Domino Creations. This is my own brand of dominoes made in collaboration with Spin Master. They're available now. Go to hevesh5.com/buydominoes or the link in the description. Our featured community member is Domino Overlord, who left this comment on my last video. I'm very excited to see the domino screenlink clips that you make, and I definitely agree we can make an amazing video together. And that's it. I'm Lily Hevesh, and keep on building.